This is Zoya Euroburo. It is a modular version of the Zoya pedal, which I have here. And it's a modular synthesizer in its own right. So this is a modular that can fit inside your modular case and expand its possibilities pretty dramatically. There are going to be other people who give better rundowns of what Zoya and Euroburo do and can do. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I know and what my experience has been. I've been a beta tester on Euroburo, or Zebu, as we affectionately call it, inside that community for over a year now. And I think, a lot of people say, well, I already have the pedal. Why would I want the Eurorack version? And I think a lot of that comes down to form factor. So I'm going to talk about the differences between the two really briefly. Both of them have two audio ins and outs, left and right, or channel 1 and channel 2. Both of them support MIDI. This is a TRS-A MIDI connection. Both of them have firmware updates, and you can upload patches through the SD card. And I've already talked to Mike about the librarian, and he expects it to be able to support patches for both of these. And in fact, the patches are interchangeable between the two. So when you get Euroburo, you also get access to the, I think it's now 900 plus patches that are on patch storage. And, loading a Zoya patch into Zebu or a Zebu patch into Zoya is not really that difficult. The differences, which I'm going to come to factor into it a little bit, Zoya has 3 stomp switches, which Zebu does not have. Zebu has 2 utility buttons, which Zoya does not have. And the big difference, of course, would be that while Zoya can support 1 channel of CV in and out over its C port, which can also do expression and MIDI, Zebu has 4 CV ins and 4 CV outs. And the CV ins and outs can support -5 to 5 volts, 0 to 5 volts, and 0 to 10 volts. So they cover, all of the major categories of voltage that you see in Eurorack. So, the difference then would be connectivity, but it's also, I will say, for those wondering, a different experience. Because the way that you approach a modular synthesizer may be different than the way that you approach a pedal. So I found that when I was patching for Zebu, a lot more of it was informed by me trying to think about problems that I had in my modular system. And there's a wonderful integration between external voltage and the internal voltage that Zoya can generate. So you can do all sorts of things that, yes, you probably could do in a large rack, but it would require a lot of different modules. For instance, if you wanted to have a sequence advance every 3rd or 4th step, or every 3rd or 4th time a ADSR reached the end of its cycle, or something, peculiar that fits into your idea of how you want a patch to progress. Zoya can fit in that way that I can't really think of any other modular being able to do on the fly. You don't need a computer to program this. You don't need to load up a preset. You can empty this preset out right now and start patching that solution. So I just wanted to talk about Zebu. If this is the first you've heard about it, I suggest you go to empresseffects.com. I'm going to forget the slash, but I'm sure you can find Euroburo on their website as of today. Pre-orders are opening today. Shipping is going to be in about 2 weeks. And the module sells for $649 US. The case that I have mine in is optional. It sells for $99 US, and it allows you to pedal it or to power it, as I have, with a guitar pedal power supply. So this uses 9 volts. Natively, when you rack this up, it uses 12 volts at about 300 milliamps. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind as you start planning for where it would fit into your modular system. It's also 34 HP wide. And that's it. You know, a lot of people asked about the delays, and there's been some commentary on that. I'm sure Empress can fill in their own side of it, but I know that COVID caused them to sort of reinvent the way that they manufactured products for quite a long time. And at the same time, there's been a little global component shortage that you may have heard of, and you know, there are a lot of things. I'm really happy with where this is now today, and I think that if they had rushed it out the door, there could have been problems, but it's stable. It does everything it's expected to do, and it's a lot of fun. So, you know, whether you go for Euroburo or Zoya probably depends a lot on your needs and your setup. But I will say that, you know, both of them are great options. The other thing, I guess, there were a lot of rumors that Euroburo was more powerful than Zoya. They use the same processor, they run on the same firmware. And so, you know, the amount of power is the same, but how you use it is pretty different. So, you know, those sort of CV utilities that I mentioned earlier in Zebu and in Zoya are relatively cheap CPU-wise. So there are a lot of really interesting patches you could build out of just CV utilities, or just, you know, for instance, translating CV to MIDI or MIDI to CV in ways that you can personalize, that you can create the converter that you've always wanted. I know in my own experience, translating MIDI to CV is often a matter of compromises. And so, you know, I think that's where Zoya differentiates itself from some other utility modules, is its ability to be deeply customized to what your needs are. And so that's all. I just wanted to say it's been a lot of fun to work on this project for the last little while, and I want to thank the people at Empress, Steve and Jay, who designed the Zoya, Mitch, who's been sort of my contact person, John, who I guess has been hand building all of the Euroburos one by one with TLC, Colin, who's worked on firmware updates and code fixes, and probably a million other people, not a million, it's not a big company, but people, a lot of other people at Empress who've all contributed to this. I hope the launch goes really, really well, and I hope for those who get the Zoya Euroburo that you like the patches I made for it. I will be doing more content on the Euroburo in the next couple of weeks. And going forward, my channel has mostly been about Zoya, but you'll see these two sort of used, I think, interchangeably going forward because they are, to a certain degree, interchangeable. And so it may just be a matter of what I'm trying to demonstrate or show off that I reach for one or the other. So with that, I'm gonna let the music pick up again and play it off.